Okay, I've shown you the various areas of the system. I believe so. Yes, I've shown you the various areas of the system. I've also mentioned to you that we offer you the best of both worlds in that you can use either the mouse or you can use shortcuts. We have another nice feature that is actually has just come out in a recent release. And by the way, when you get the system, you're going to be able to you will get the updates to the system as part of your software support agreement. So as we come out with updates and enhancements to the system, you will get those sent to you. One of the enhancements that we've done recently, which is in the new release, is what we call keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts allows your users to create their own shortcuts to bring these programs up through the menu. So in this case, I happen to have Control R is, by the way, and you can set these up. Each user can set up their own. So I've created Control R for credit posting. So if I'm sitting here and all of a sudden I need to call up credit posting, I just go Control R and it brings up credit posting. So, or any of the screens that are in these drop downs, whether they be reports, etc. And that's something that you don't see in most systems, is the flexibility for each user to be able to have these shortcuts. And what we're really talking about is productivity. We want to make the users as productive as possible. So allowing this type of interface, and you're not going to see this interface on other systems. Other interfaces are way slower. They may look prettier, but they're way slower. Okay. So let's just go ahead and follow through, and we're going to make an appointment for a patient, take them through the system, etc. So I'm going to start, and what I'm really going to do is I'm going to make an appointment for an existing patient, and then I'm going to make an appointment for a new patient to show you how that works. So I'm going to pretend that we get a call from a patient, and her name is Smith. And I'm going to type in Smith, and I'm going to do a search for all the Smiths. Uh-oh. Oh, he hung up on him, I think. Okay, so I'm going to do a search on Smith. I can either click with my mouse, or the shortcut on all of these buttons is Alt and whatever letter is underlined. So Alt S is search, Alt C is clear, Alt E is exit, Alt T is or Alt I is patient, etc. So you'll notice that every one of the buttons up here has a letter underlined. So if I do Alt S, just to show that off, it's the same thing as clicking search with my mouse. Now I typed in Smith, and by the way, I always demonstrate Smith, but you can use your own patience. I typed in Smith, and because I only typed in Smith, it brought up all my Smiths. But if I typed in Smith and a C, it would have brought up only my C's. If I typed in Smith and the word Diane, it would have just brought her directly up. Now, you can also bring up patients by, obviously, account number, but any combination, last name, first name, you can bring up patients by birth date, social security number, phone number, or policy number. Any of those can bring the patients up. All right. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of other things. You notice up here it says phonetic name search. Smith is probably not the best example, but I will type in SMYTH and do a search, and you'll notice it'll still find. So if the phonetic search will find everybody who sounds like Smith. Okay. As a matter of fact, it also Schmidt kind of sounds like Smith, so it found that person just in case. All right. We also have, notice up here, we also have a button that says, a box that says include historical records. One of the real nice features of eMedSys is that we always save all of the old demographic registrations. So whenever I'm in a record, if I've changed an address, a name, a social security number, etc., it always saves all my old registrations. And because we're doing that, if we had that checked off, we could find anybody whose name was ever Smith in our system. So, and this is very handy for your practice, where you're an OBGYN practice. You have patients that were married, that were, have a maiden name, or maybe they've been divorced. So if you've got a patient that's single, married, divorced, been on the run, changed for aliases, pursued by the police, you can still find her by all of her aliases. Okay? I hope we don't have too many of those patients, but if you do. Okay. um, I'm going to pick Candace Smith, who all I have to do is highlight her and hit the enter key, or I can double click on her, or I can just go to her with the keyboard pad and hit the enter, and it's going to bring Candace Smith up for me now. Now, Candace Smith has alert notes. Uh, you have in your system the ability to create your own alert note types. These are just a couple of examples. One is just a regular alert note, and then an alert note based on their phone number. So you can create your own alert note types, and you also can determine which alert notes you want to have pop up on what screen. So I could have some alert notes pop up in appointment scheduling where those type of alert notes are applicable, and other alert notes pop up in inquiry or charge posting. You get to control all that. Okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and read my alert notes, click OK. Now, do you remember that I told you we have that patient's collection, the collections module? If there's a tickler for this patient because she's overdue and there's a tickler in the collections module, I will automatically get this alert window just from the very fact that there's a tickler in there. So that will automatically pop up and telling me things like, where she is and what's wrong, etc. Now this screen, we call this our patient appointment information screen. This is where the scheduler would say, Candace, are you still living at 98272 North Main Street? Is this in fact your social security number? Is this your phone number? We have your insurance coverage as Blue Shield, primary, secondary is AARP. And by the way, you'll notice we have some plans here that are in gray. These are previous plans that are no longer active, but we always keep track of all the insurances, whether they're active or inactive, so we can see those. We also can see their balance and the aging of it, right? Both we separate out patient balance from insurance balance. And then we also can see their appointment history. A future appointment would just say booked. Previous appointments are going to give a status. They either kept their appointment, was canceled, they were no-show. You can see all these. You can see all the statuses here. Okay, and I can scroll chronologically down as far as I want to go. Okay, if an appointment has, you'll notice that we have the date of the appointment, the date, the time, the status, where the appointment was, who the provider was they saw, the visit type, what type of appointment it was. These would be defined by your practice. So you might have new patient OB, return GYN, etc., etc. We also show who scheduled the appointment and the date and time it was scheduled. That's very handy information. If an appointment was canceled, we will show who canceled the appointment, the date and time it was canceled. If it was rescheduled, we will show when it was rescheduled for. All in this grid. By the way, these grids, if I like to, if for some reason I want to change the order of them or something like that, I can resize them, I can move them around, things of that nature. And each user can have their own preferences on how they like to look at these grids and save those as preferences. So we have the appointment history. We also have these buttons up here. Can you see these up here? Can you see this says eChart? And by the way, this button is in yellow, and there's a little asterisk next to it, which is telling the user that there's something behind the button. This one that says eligibility, there's nothing behind it, so we don't even need to press it to look at it. Now, eChart is a feature that comes with the practice management system. You don't have to have the EMR for this, and this will give you the ability to scan and attach information into the patient's chart. So, and by the way, we don't limit you to only insurance cards, but certainly insurance cards is one thing. I think Dr. DeCoster, you told me you have multiple offices. You have 4 of them. So this is a very handy. This is very handy because the patient may have visited one office, had that insurance card scanned over there, and now they're appearing in another office because it's more convenient, or they're at work and it's another office. But you can pull this information up no matter where you are. By the way, our product is what we call a thin client technology, so it's very easy to connect from remote sites. It's also easy to connect from a home, hospital.